Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of MALN Opinion Plus. This is a space for our opinions where we talk about current events and questions the Latino community is curious about. This week, we're joined by Rosario Ubiera-Minaya, Executive Director of Amplify Latinx, an organization that helps support Latinos across the Commonwealth. Thanks for joining us today, Rosario.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And it's been about a year since we last spoke with you. Could you give our audience just a bit of an intro into what Amplify Latinx is and the work you guys do?
Of course. So we are a nonprofit organization that was founded back in 2017. Previously to becoming Amplify Latinx, we were known as the Latina Circle, a group that was volunteer-led that started in 2012, working just with Latinas in Massachusetts in promoting them to leadership positions and other opportunities. But in 2017, we became Amplify Latinx as a trusted, culturally responsive, and bilingual organization. And we are driving systemic change through a focus on promoting equity for the Commonwealth's diverse and underserved Latino community. We are the first of its kind Latinx-led collaborative movement, and we convene, connect, educate, and also engage an inclusive and high-impact leadership network of professionals, entrepreneurs, change makers, disruptors, and advocates in order to close the opportunity gaps in Greater Boston and beyond. We are a statewide organization, and even though we were born in Boston, in the past couple of years, we have reached out to many other areas in the region, in Massachusetts, and we are happy to say that our programming has expanded its footprint outside of Boston.
That sounds so exciting, and I find it so important for other Latino people to come together and be there for each other and help each other succeed. Could you tell me a little bit about how Amplify Latinx plans to develop and grow this work for the Latino community as we enter 2022?
Sure. We started again with a very clear understanding that we are focusing on building the wealth of the Latino community and building our power. So we focus a lot on, like I said, leadership representation and finding opportunities for upward economic mobility for Latinos. And we really feel that that is achieved through being at high level, a connected network where we can continue advance a Latino talent pipeline. So we have been doing that work since the beginning, and we continue growing it and scaling up. So we continue focusing on the same goals for 2020, and we started with 3 very clear goals that are drive leadership advancement and placement by increasing Latino representation in wealth-building careers and decision-making roles, either in government, advisory boards, nonprofit boards, or corporate boards. We are growing and cultivating a civically engaged Latino network to increase voter participation and political representation. And we are working in developing a policy blueprint for the Latino community, just prioritizing Latino issues in Massachusetts. So throughout those goals and throughout these years, we are now heading into 2022, and we continue focusing on that work. We continue advancing this plan of building this shared Latino policy blueprint and making sure that we are bringing the issues of the Latino community up front, and that we are advocating for bills and policy that is going to start making the systemic change that we need to see. Also, we are focusing a lot on amplifying inclusive entrepreneurship and growth in Latino businesses and Latino entrepreneurs. We saw that that need through the pandemic, and we continue investing resources and energy into just serving the needs of Latino businesses. And through the leadership representation piece, we are amplifying new voices. We are making sure that we are recommending and championing Latino talent, either for elected and appointed positions, and continue providing opportunities for training for leadership development, or for running for office or running a campaign, but making sure that we are doing our part in terms of creating access and just growing representation for the Latino community.
Now, when you talk about Latino issues here in Massachusetts, I'm curious what ALX has at the forefront of their mind when they're thinking of what they need to target and help out with.
Yeah, so based on our priorities, we do work with over 250 partners throughout the state. And those partners are either, grassroots community-based, programs or organizations or groups, or if they go up to, large corporations, depending on, the needs and depending on the goals that we have. But we cannot do this work alone. We do it with a coalition. And as part of that coalition, there's many issues that the different groups are focusing on. You know, based on our research and others, the partnership that we had with Gaston Institute that have been doing a lot of research around Latino issues. Of course, there's the big issues that come to play, such as economy, education, housing, immigration. Those are kind of like the big pieces, but also, health, the COVID-19 pandemic that are hitting us more closely in our communities. And but for us, as we continue bringing light and awareness about all of those issues to our partners, we really want to focus on something that we can manage and be realistic about as Amplify Latinx. So based on our priorities, we are focusing a lot on funding and support for Latino entrepreneurs and Latino-owned businesses, BIPOC, focused support. And we are focusing a lot on the gender and pay gap. The Latina pay gap, just the gender pay gap, and as well as parity in representation on those boards and commissions and those other tables that we want to see more representation of in decision-making roles. So those are kind of like the ones that we've been pushing directly. And then because we are very active on coalitions that are working towards that. But at the same time, we are working with our partners in making sure that there's also work that is being going advancing in terms of the other issues that I mentioned.
Of course. So last February, we spoke with you about an administrative complaint Amplify Latinx and a few other Boston area groups were filing against the city to hope to stop discrimination against Black and Latino businesses. Could you tell our audience about the outcome of that filing and how that work has gone since then?
Sure. You mentioned that last February, back in 2021, we filed this civil rights complaint against the city of Boston, the U.S. Department of Justice, and the U.S. Department of Transportation on behalf of BECMA, Amplify Latinx, GBLN, which is the Greater Boston Latino Network. We did this in collaboration with Lawyers for Civil Rights. So the complaint is still pending. And through that complaint, we allege that the city of Boston has engaged in a pattern of discrimination against Black and Latino-owned businesses by maintaining a public procurement system that unlawfully excludes these businesses from equal contracting opportunities. And we are talking about Black and brown businesses. So Amplify Latinx and our partners have been really encouraged in the past year, especially over the last several months, to see the steps of the newly elected Mayor Wu that she has taken towards remedying some of these issues and being kind of like an advocate in making sure that there's programming in place and measures in place that can address the complaints that we put forward. One of those steps that she has taken is, for example, appointing formerly the former director of BECMA, Shegun Aiduo, as the chief of economic opportunity for the city of Boston. So that is already creating an opportunity for continuing this collaboration and making sure that we have someone in the administration that truly understands the issues that we are presenting at the table. Another piece of the work that is promising is that the mayor also launched this shelter market program that is focusing in working directly with minority-owned businesses in the community. In light of these hopeful signs that we are seeing, we continue staying in communication with the administration to discuss if they can expedite a resolution of the complaint as soon as possible. So we are in the process of that right now, and having Shogun as part of that is really creating a good path in terms of the discussions. Some of the things that we have been asking, that we outline as part of the discussed topics and the suggestions that we are presenting to the city is, for example, making the city's contracting processes more transparent, aggressively implementing both race-conscious and race-neutral measures, and that includes contract-specific goals, this shelter market pilot program that the city is already launching to really make it that, they're looking at it in a very close way and making sure that there's evaluation as they move forward with the program. Because this type of program not only requires the right direction, but also requires to be really aggressive in terms of implementation, especially in the next 3 years as we continue measuring the progress. Also, we have partnered with other organizations. Sorry, Diego.
No worries.
We are partnering with other organizations that are already working in contracting and procurement opportunities and diversifying that.
So would you mind just giving us some examples of what these contracting opportunities might be and how they've been disproportionately affecting the Latino and people of color in Boston?
Yeah, so overall, the issue is that these contracts are extremely large and don't really create opportunities for certified businesses to be able to, engage in the contracts. It makes it like almost impossible. So one of the things that we are asking is unbundling the large contracts to make them more accessible to minority-owned businesses, which tends to be smaller businesses, smaller firms, and removing any unnecessary bid expectations and qualifications, like overly, stringent experience requirements, for example, which is something that is really putting a lot of small firms and businesses already in a position that they cannot apply for contracts. And on top of that, many of these businesses already went through a very difficult process in terms of acquiring these certifications. So now that they are certified, is putting extra additional guidelines on top of everything to be able to qualify to apply for contracts is what keeping these opportunities inaccessible. But we are seeing that a lot in the construction field, some in the technology field, but anything that is under kind of like design and construction and developers, there's very a lot of funding and large contracts under that should be accessible to smaller businesses.
Now, as we wrap up here, would you just be able to tell our audience about how they can get involved in Amplify Latinx and learn more about your organization?
Of course, there's like many different ways that you can get involved in the work that we are doing, depending on your interest and what you are looking for. But I will say the first step is to start by signing up to becoming a member for the organization. It's a free membership. And what that allows you to do is to get an opportunity to be up to date with the work that we are doing and opportunities for be a part of the call to actions or the programming and the training that we are offering. And also, it brings you into this amazing network of over 6,000 members at this point. So just go to the website, sign up to become part of the network and to become part of the hub. Another way is that if you are a small business or as an entrepreneur, sign up your business to be in our online directory. And also, sign up to the Power Up business program. It's a Latinx business initiative, and it's the one that is focusing on operating with the small businesses through the COVID economy and making sure that we are helping stabilizing businesses, supporting in their growth and planning, especially in digital transformation. So through that program, you can apply not only for training, but also for consulting services, as well as have access to resources and other opportunities.
That sounds great. Thank you so much. Thank you again for talking with us today, Rosario, and for being our guest here on MALN Opinion Plus.
Thank you so much for having me. It is a pleasure, and thank you for the work that you are doing.
Thank you. Join us next time for another episode. And for more information about our discussion today, you can check out our web story on MALNLatinonews.com. Follow us on Twitter at MA Latino News and Instagram at MA_Latino News. I'm Diego Villarreal with MALN Opinion Plus. See you next time.